Hello and welcome to Dish Shelved with Adam White. This week, or like this is a weekly thing, today I'm going to talk about Once in Future by writer Kieran Gillen and artist Dan Mora. I didn't know much about it when I got it, and honestly had never read anything by Gillen, and I'd never heard of Dan Mora. I guess he's a newer artist, but there was a sale on it was a two-book set, book one and book two, and these really nice hardcovers from Boom Studios. And I thought, that looks interesting. I'll check those out. Well, I'm glad I did because it was a really interesting story. It collects the entire 30 issue series of Once and Future, and it's a retelling kind of the Arthurian legends, but it's a way that's never been done before. And there's a lot of surprises in store if even if you're just vaguely familiar with Arthurian stories and the Knights of the Round Table and so forth, you'll get a very different story than what you're expecting in Once and Future. It's a really interesting tale, but it revolves mainly around Bridget, an older woman who's at a rest home, and she has a secret history. And I really won't say a lot about the plot or the characters because I don't want to give anything away because I went into it blind, and that's probably the best way to go into it. But it's about Bridget and her grandson, Duncan, and his girlfriend, Rose. And they end up in this wild adventure that deals with not only Arthurian legends but other legends of England, and there's some surprise characters pop up in some surprise ways. You can kind of see the embossing on this. It's like uh, there's some color art on the cover, and then there's that black embossing. It looks really cool. I didn't even notice it the first time I read it, and then I was sitting in a different angle in the sunlight and saw it and thought, wow, that's a really wicked cover. And the other one's like that too. But really, really great story. There's a lot of other characters too, but it's a really different take on the Arthurian legend. And I think that you'll be both surprised and pleased by it. I will show you some of the art because the art is fantastic. Um, I'll try to pick stuff that doesn't give anything away, but that's Duncan there fighting this mythical beast. And that's Bridget on over there at over here at the bottom, and then on the right side. And she's a great character. More of Bridget there. But the art was fantastic, and I was like, man, why have I not heard of Dan Mora? This guy's great. And I guess he just done a few things for Boom Studios, but I saw more recently, that he's done a Captain Marvel series with Mark Waid, and I'm talking about the original Captain Marvel, the Shazam Captain Marvel, who will always be Captain Marvel to me. Uh, Plus, I don't understand the logistics of if you're going to call a character Shazam and he can't say his own name without reverting back into a little boy. I don't know how that works, but um, anyway, I've always liked the character of Captain Marvel, or Shazam, if you want to call him that now. But there's a collection out of the first 6 issues of that, I think, and it was by Mark Waid and Dan Mora, and I mean, you just can't go wrong with that. I'm really looking forward to reading that. And again, just some more of the art. I'll show you the other one too. You can kind of see some of the embossing there on book 2, and it just gets wilder and wilder in book 2, and they bring in some really unsuspected people um, into the story, and it deals a lot with history and myth of Britain, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, a lot of fun. I'll tease with that. That feather holds a significance, double significance actually, and it it turns out to be uh, a really fun part of the story that feather ends up being that you saw there in that. But anyway, this is a fantastic series. I recommend both book 1 and 2. Like I said, it collects the whole 30 issue series, and it has book 2 has some extras in the back, and they both have cover galleries, which are fantastic. They just Kieran Gillen and Dan Mora do such a fantastic job in this series. I will say that it jumps right into the story, which, like I said, kind of going into it blind, like I did, makes it work really well because it kind of just takes you right into the story, and there's no, once upon a time or anything like that. It just really takes you into the story right from the beginning, and just doesn't stop until the end. And even then, you still get a sense there might be more to come. But really fascinating. The way they fix things at the end, the practicality to me was a little dubious, but it didn't really matter because the story was so much fun. These are really what comics were made for. I mean, there's an unlimited budget because the only limit is your imagination, and they really have an imaginative story here. And the things it works in, I was just both surprised and pleased as I went through it, and just enjoyed the heck out of the whole thing. And um, and I really recommend these comics. Even if you're not a comics person, if you're into Arthurian legends, check this out because I guarantee it's different from anything you've ever seen. If you're into just British legends at all, definitely you will want to check this out. It's kind of a fantasy horror type story, but it just is really fantastic. I really enjoyed it. I think you will too. Uh, I don't know what I'm going to be doing next, but um, I've been reading a lot of Michael Moorcock lately, but not enough to, well, I probably have had enough to do a video, but it's been some longer books. So I'm working still on Michael Moorcock, and I've got several other things coming down the pipe that both comic and non-comic. And so I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thanks for joining me with us, and I hope you get a kick out of these the way I did, because Once and Future was a lot of fun. So thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll catch you next time.